Hello everyone, I'm David Law, Superintendent of Minnetonka Public Schools.
And I'm Megan Sellinger, Minnetonka School Board Vice Chair.
We are glad you're able to join us for our School Board Recognitions program. It's so important to take the time to acknowledge and celebrate the outstanding accomplishments of our students, staff, and community members.
We begin most of our regular board meetings with recognitions to highlight the positive impact that so many different people make in our district.
Today, we're recognizing District Service Center honored artists from our elementary schools, fall sport state qualifiers, newly named AP Scholars with Honor from the 2022-23 school year, 2 awards earned by Minnetonka Community Education, and the leaders and site coordinators for our annual employee charitable giving campaign.
We will now recognize a group of our elementary student artists.
Each year, our art teachers select pieces to display at the Minnetonka Schools District Service Center. This is one way we celebrate the work of our students and our commitment to a fine arts education.
The works on display now are from students at Minnetonka's 6 elementary schools and the Tonka Online K-5 program. These pieces will be on display through December.
Student artists, thank you for sharing your work with us. Your artistic talent and creativity brightens the District Service Center.
We would also like to thank and recognize our elementary art teachers for their work to encourage and inspire our community.
Minnetonka's elementary art teachers will be introducing the honored artists this evening. They include Christy Nugent from Clear Springs Elementary, Reed Anderson from Deep Haven Elementary and Tonka Online, Katie Friends from Excelsior Elementary, Jane Meyer from Groveland Elementary, Melanie Mozingo from Minnetonka Elementary, Jennifer Bend from Scenic Heights Elementary, and Matt Carlson from Minnetonka Elementary, Scenic Heights, and Groveland Elementary.
Our art teachers will now read the names of each student artist as their works are displayed.
Hello to the Minnetonka School Board, school community, and especially to our student artists and their families who are watching this evening. We are so incredibly proud of you, and we're excited to celebrate you tonight along with the beautiful artwork that you've created. From drawing and sculpture to painting and mixed media collage, you've used a wide variety of techniques and mediums to add beauty to our schools. Thank you for all of the effort, joy, collaboration, and creativity you show every single day. We will celebrate now by showing images of your artwork as we read your names. Your names will be read by your art teachers. Miss Nugent from Clear Springs Elementary will get us started.
Our honored artists are Ina Jadwin, Alexandra Ness, Lily Vega, Molly Bombach, Corbin Persinger, Violet Murdoch, Blake Spencer, Olive Kalahar, Reese Patterson, Eloise Reed, Santiago Rueda, Emmanuel Allen, Natalie Stiles, Frank Thompson.
I'm Reed Anderson, art teacher at Deep Haven Elementary. Deep Haven's honored artists this fall include Logan Allen, Indy Cardinal, Theo Milleron, Nolan Willett, Sophia Hunter, Bryn Schrader, Ariella Gritchner, Claire Vogt, Sophie Echeverria, Miles Mack, Kitty Lavanovich, Jackson Popane.
Katie Friends is the art teacher at Excelsior Elementary. Honored artists on behalf of Excelsior include Benjamin Cunningham, Ann Eggert, Bennett Froley, Diego Guevara Velasquez, Josephine Friends, Laisla Roth, Mary Sheldon, Isabel Smith, Jackson Spees, Anna Swagert, Quinn Callis, Kason Nuon, Reese Amato, and Lily McNamee.
Hello, I'm Jane Meyer. I teach art at Groveland Elementary.
And I'm Matt Carlson, art teacher at Groveland, Minnetonka, and Scenic Heights Elementary Schools.
Groveland's honored artists include
Franklin Blumhofer,
Blake Finger, Sky Hale, Crosby Hull, Ella Canavy, Philip Kim, Savannah Lawson,
Keaton Luge, Esme McElroy, Isaac Stewart,
Levi Parmalee, Tess Likens, Emmett Chun, Juliet Jensen,
Crosby Lilke, Cody Sunboom,
Evelyn Wacker. Congratulations, artists.
congratulations.
I am Melanie Mozingo, art teacher at Minnetonka Elementary. I'm honored to share the work of these amazing artists. Anya Chihonova, Caroline Countryman, Ariana Johnson, Phoebe Quinn, Emerson Schluender, Joey Streeter, Genevieve DeSaulniers, Tegan Duncan, Valerie Gunderson, Hi Landy, Sawani Miller, Owen Paget, Graham West, Ethan Hugo,
Brinley Frisbee, Freya Hagen,
Maxine Hermanson,
Griffin Johnson,
Theodore Mielhaus, Ivor Pisavento, Lysandra Rodriguez,
Davis Woodstrom,
Esme Ashline, Kate Dickinson, Emmett Fox, Ryder Fox, Emery Fritschke, August Gus Gerke, Rithia Gopinath, Henry Griffel, Josephine Hoff, Zoe Johnson, Ellie Nash, Chloe Nesland, Alexandra Alex Raymond, Henrik Robinson, Calvin West, Anzal Ali, Atreya Backstrom, Charlie Baldwin, Elsa Barron, Quinn Bollinger, Ilya Chahanova, Jasmine Hilgers, Ingrid Hippie, Mackenzie Nelson, Ellery Patton, Gideon Ruff, Malia Tobin, Ella Vandenbroek, and Chase Wilkin.
I'm Jennifer Ben, art teacher at Scenic Heights Elementary. Our honored artists are Oscar Crane, Kaya McCormick, Lucas Quinn, Lyndon Letter, Lucas Chung, Zachary Hammer, Ada Vetter,
Lena Benson, Nathan Crowley, Hiram Fernandez, Bridget Gutenkopf, Ewan Salyards,
Eve Scharbeck,
Max Smeagol,
Elsa Zhao,
Micah Yu, Felix Bowman, Luciana Garzon, Olivia Lynn,
Maggie McConaughey,
Elena Meshkova, Beckett Olson,
Axel Wood,
Jerry Joe,
Vivian Moffett, Eva Olson.
I am Reed Anderson, art teacher for Tonka Online elementary students. The honored artists from Tonka Online are Justin Hackley, Gigi Swanson Apollinario, Cole Christensen.
Artists, congratulations one more time on being selected for this art exhibition. You are amazing. Keep creating, being curious, and sharing your hard work through the visual arts. What you do makes a difference.
Thank you again to all of our student artists for sharing your talent, hard work, and inspiration with us this fall.
Next, we will recognize state qualifiers from our fall sports teams.
It has been a strong season for the skippers, with several teams qualifying to compete at state competition and several athletes earning top-level awards at state tournaments. The varsity boys cross-country team took second at the Minnesota State High School League Tournament, which is Minnetonka's highest finish in team history. The team is led by head coach Jeff Renland and assistant coach Jacob Peterson.
Before we recognize each athlete by name, let's hear more about the team season.
Hi, I'm Jeff Renlund, the head boys cross-country coach at Minnetonka High School, and I am so proud of this year's team as they won the section championships for the third consecutive year in advancing to state, and they placed a very strong second, the highest place that the boys team have ever placed in school history. And then they went on to the regional championships in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, where they ran against all of the best teams from the 7-state region and placed a very strong fourth. And remarkably, individually we had 3 all-state runners on this team, and with Sean Fries, who was 7th at state, and followed by Tyler Voss, who was 18th, and Will Chose, who was 24th. Again, I'm so proud of this team, and I'm already looking forward to next year. And go Skippers.
Congratulations to the following athletes: Parker Berry, Luke Bostert, William Chose, Ryan Fries, Sean Fries, Turfey Horvick, Lloyd Laninga, Dylan Schneider, and Tyler Voss. The varsity girls cross-country team also had a standout season. The team took third at the Minnesota State High School League Tournament. The team is coached by Rebecca Wesley.
Let's hear more about their season.
Hello, I'm Rebecca Wesley. I'm the head coach for the girls cross-country program here at Minnetonka, and I want to congratulate the girls on a great 2023 cross-country season. Their successes began this year with all of the summer miles and all of the hard work they put in daily at practice, which is exactly the type of foundation you need to progress and be a strong team and have a strong showing at the state cross-country meet. The girls not only worked for themselves, but also for each other, and I know that our varsity team really wanted to make the season special for the graduating seniors, and their combined efforts got them up on the podium at state. A special shout out goes to freshman Abby Malik and junior Avery Marasco Johnson, who both placed in the top 9 at state, which is a great accomplishment. Cross country is a wonderful sport, and I want to thank all of the students and fans who came out on race day to help support us. Your contributions really helped with the vibe and the energy and helped us have a great competition. I again would like to thank and congratulate all of the girls for a great 2023 cross-country season. You guys are the best.
Hi, my name is Avery Marasco Johnson, and I'm a junior at the class of 2025. My favorite moment from the cross-country season this year was when both the girls and the boys team showed up on the podium finish together. It was the first time all of us ran uninjured in months, and it was great to see all of our hard work come true.
Congratulations to the following athletes: Alex Dragseth, Meredith Gillis, Ella Graham, Evelyn Malek, Avery Marasco Johnson, Kira Martin, Olivia Mulestead, Stella Swanson, and Claire Euchre. The varsity boys soccer team qualified for the state tournament this year and made it to the quarterfinal round. They were also conference and section champions. The team is led by head coach Mike Rogers and assistant coaches Alex Johnson and Nick Smazel.
Let's hear more about their season.
I want to congratulate you guys on a terrific season. On behalf of the coaching staff, to all your players, to the managers, you did a great job this season. With a combination of grit, skill, team play, sportsmanship, you want to share the Lake Conference title and you were Section 2 AAA champs. You did a wonderful job. So proud of you guys. Congratulations to everybody.
My name is Evan Aftal. I'm a senior. The most impactful part of my season is when I scored the game winner against Stillwater on soccer Saturday. I am most proud of my team and I for beating Edina twice, once in regular season play and once in the section final to move on to state.
Congratulations to the following athletes: Evan Aftal, Alexander Albright, John Albright, Hudson Benitez, David Castillon, Eric Detjen, Tyler Friday, Daniel Gonzalez Villaseca, Dylan Hashbarger, Jake Hennon, Alexander Keekley, Miles Kennedy.
Liam Krengle, Soren Lee, Iser Lipnick, Colin Mascalo, Vikram Nathan, Henry Olson, Mateo Rebman, Elijah Ryan, Santiago Samkow, Ethan Skisted, Nicholas Boves, and Wiley Wright.
The varsity girls swim and dive team finished first at the True Team State Meet and second at the Minnesota State High School League State Meet this year.
Individually, senior Paige Dillon won the 200-meter freestyle, and junior Abigail Wenzel won the 100-meter butterfly.
The team is coached by Minnetonka Aquatics Director John Bradley.
Hello, my name is John Bradley, and I am the co-head coach, along with Dennis Dadashev, of the 2023 Minnetonka Girls Swim and Dive team. The team had an amazing season during the fall sports session. The girls posted first place finishes at the Laker Invite, the True Team State Sectional, the MSHSL Sectional, and the True Team State Meet. The team finished second in the MSHSL State Tournament and was one of two teams finishing with over 300 points when the meet was all said and done. Many thanks to our athletes, captains, families, and fans this season, and congratulations to all of our staff and volunteers who worked very hard to make this season a memorable one. Thanks for your time.
Congratulations to the following athletes: Gracie Bartholomew, Lydia Cameron, Paige Dillon, Annika Graham, Henley Hatsung, Sarah Hurley, Lauren Killalay, Janaea Love.
Brooke Olson, Morgan Rather, Kendall Schindler, Stella Succi, Riley Hewlett, Erilyn Vogel, Annabelle Wenzel, and Claire Wilkie.
The next team we'll recognize is varsity girls tennis. The team took third place at the Minnesota State High School League tournament this year.
The team is led by head coach Jessa Richards and assistant coaches Dan Richards and Jim Elvestrom.
Let's hear more about their season.
Hi, this is Jessa Richards, head coach for the girls tennis team. I just wanted to say a big congratulations to the entire team for an incredible season this fall. Some of your biggest accomplishments were dominating your in-season schedule, another section championship, making it back to state, and placing third in state this year. I also wanted to recognize 5 individuals who made it to the individual state tournament this year. Karina Elvstrom, Tessa Trevetti, Charlotte Carney, Sydney Pronzinski, and Alexa Cummings. Really great showing at state this year, and it was super fun. Overall, I'm really proud of all 16 girls for an incredible season, for showing up every day and competing hard, and just making it a great year.
My name is Isabella Starkman, and I'm a freshman in Minnetonka. One of the most impactful parts of my season was making a great connection with our new coach, Dan Richards. Dan is a funny, inspiring, and made practice a great environment. He drove us to be better every day. Another impactful moment was watching our team go from strangers to best friends in the span of 3 months. In the beginning of the season, we all barely knew each other and went on a trip to Rochester. It was remarkable to see how much we grew as a team and became best friends. Some things I'm most proud of was when we battled the Edina in the semifinals and lost, but we're still able to be happy for Rochester for taking home the state title.
Congratulations to the following athletes: Charlotte Carney, Georgia Constantine, Alexa Cummings, Karina Elvestrom, Grace Fagri, Martina Francisco, Aurelia Medzukaita, Ananda Nui Vanisvang.
Blake Nye, Carter Nye, Gabrielle Olson, Lucy Prodzinski, Sydney Prodzinski, Ella Roberts, Isabella Starkman-Sen, and Tessa Trevetti.
The varsity girls volleyball team qualified for state this year and made it to the quarterfinal round. The team is led by head coach Carl Katzenberger and assistant coaches Rachel Dill and Bailey Zimprick.
Let's hear more about their season.
Thank you, Minnetonka School Board, for recognizing the accomplishments of our student athletes and volleyball team over the 2023 season. And we were very proud of the team. It was the third volleyball team at Minnetonka High School to qualify for the state tournament, joining the 1976 and 2019 iterations. The following students were on our state roster: Antonia Shohan, Ava Wolf, Lauren Granger, Hannah Jackson, Elena Treberg, Riley Frandrup, Haley Paul Hauser, Erica Daniels, Stella Bennett, Miranda Ramsey, Jordan Courtney, Rory Schoen, Avery Stanwood, Anna Lockhart, Aubrey Johnson, Gracie Foss, Emery Hedrick, Sophie Lyons. Student managers for the team were Shay Maley, Celia Harris, Colby Hemmink, and our assistant coaches, Rachel Dill and Bailey Zimbrick. Bailey also was named the 2023 Section 2-4A Assistant Coach of the Year and won the 2023 Minnesota State High School Coaches Association Outstanding Assistant Coach Award. Thank you. Go Skippers.
Hi, my name is Rory Schoen. I'm a sophomore on the Minnetonka girls volleyball team. I would say that of the many impactful moments this season, our most impactful was the semifinal game against Chaska High School. This game was so important to me for many reasons, but especially because we came back from being down 2 sets. I had yet to experience anything like this game in my volleyball career, so I will forever remember the electric environment. My teammates, coaches, and our student/parent sections were so important to our winning and kept the environment super positive. No one really ever gave up on us in that gym. I will forever be impacted by the feeling created when we won that last point and everyone rushed the court. I'm so proud of how everyone on this team gave everything they had during the qualifier and state games, because it showed that we got as far as we did because of our hard work and how much we supported each other. Thank you.
Congratulations to the following athletes: Estelle Bennett, Antonia Chowan, Jordan Courtney, Erica Daniels, Gracie Foss, Riley Frandrup, Lauren Granger, Celia Harris, Emery Hedrick, Colby Hemmink, Hannah Jackson,
Aubrey Johnson, Anna Lockhart, Sophia Lyons, Shay Malley, Haley Paul, Miranda Ramsey, Rory Schoen, Avery Stanwood, Elena Treberg, Ava Wolf.
The final athletes we'll be recognizing this evening are the state qualifiers from our middle school and high school mountain biking team. More than 70 athletes qualified to participate in the state competition this year.
The team is coached by Jake Saywert. Let's hear more about their season.
Hello, my name is Jake Saywert, and I'm the head coach of the Minnetonka mountain bike race team. For those of you not familiar with us, our team consists of over 100 co-ed student riders from MME, MMW, and the high school combined. Our season spans from July to mid-October, culminating in 5 races through the Minnesota Cycling Association. We had an incredible season in 2023, taking 4th place in the overall high school team score and 1st place overall in the middle school team score. At the individual level, we had an incredible 81 top 10 finishes, 22 top 3 finishes, and 12 first place finishes. While these results are truly impressive and a testament to the hard work of our riders, winning is not the focus of our program. Rather, our all-volunteer coaching staff is committed to teaching fundamental riding skills, creating a positive and supportive team culture, helping athletes work through adversity, and above all, having fun while building a lifelong passion for the sport of mountain biking. In closing, I'd like to thank our coaching leadership team that includes Leah Malik, Aaron Anderson, and Lori Sylvester. Also, thank you to Andy Coots at MCEC for his year-round support of our team, And finally, the school board for recognizing our program and all of the hard work our riders put into this year.
Hello, I'm Lucas Sylvester. I'm in 11th grade, and I'm here because I'm the captain of the Minnetonka mountain bike team. One thing that I'm the most proud of about my team this year is obviously going to state, and our middle schoolers actually won first place in state, and our high schoolers got fourth in state, so very proud of both of those teams for that. The most impactful thing for me this year, I think, was the community. A big part of it was the coaches. The coaches this year really stepped up their game, and it felt more like a family more than a team. And but more than the coaches, I would say, was the kids. The attitude and the vibes that the kids brought this year was just immaculate. Everybody was so happy to be there, and nobody had a bad attitude, and everybody really felt like they belonged there and that they wanted to be there instead of being forced to be there. And I think that really impacted me for the better this year, so thank you.
My name is Micah Marasco-Johnson. I'm in 7th grade on the mountain biking team. This year, I made it to state. It was my first year racing for the mountain biking team. I want to thank my coaches and my amazing teammates.
Hey, I'm Alex Klugen. I'm on the 7th grade boys mountain biking team. I'd like to share the story of how I made it to state this year. I remember last year I wasn't exactly the greatest, so I remember the off season I made sure to practice as much as I can. And boy, those results really paid off. Because I remember that the first practice, I made such big differences. I even moved up a couple of groups. And I remember the first race, I remember how big of a tide difference I was, but I was still equally exhausted. But I remember of how good I did, so I decided to keep pushing as hard as I could in the races. And then it was no easy process, but after multiple long weeks, I finally made it to state.
Congratulations to the following mountain bikers: Isabel Calhoun Lopez, Leonidas Hantos, Benjamin Kesson, Leo Leonardson, Adeline Malik, Lillian Sasanfar, William Vargo, Elijah Vega, Vivian Wood, Grace Boom,
Quinn Bozeman, Vincent Caruso, David Healy, Alex Kluken, Finn Kohlmeyer, August Kraker, Simon Lenartson, Quentin Maddie, Micah Marasco-Johnson, Kaya Mays.
Quinn Miller, Jackson Runk, Bennett Schmidt, Carson Shopbell, Bentley Stocksdale, Claire Straub, Connor Strickland, Ethan Thull, Bryce Bisson, Riley Coleman,
Samuel Coughlin, Ike Davidson, Simon Foster, Ian Gifford, Jesse Hansen, Caden Head, Owen Higgins, Miles Hilker, Benjamin Lucy, Evan Pauley.
Ethan Reschner, Alice Saywert, Benno Sasanfar, Jacob Schersleit, Frank Snyder, Reed Thurbush, Bennett Turpin, Lydia Vargo, Axel Chenier, Audrey Gett,
Colin Johnson, Evelyn Malik, Delaney Miller, Piper Schmidt, Stella Swanson, Remington Worth, Mitchell Hayes, Paxton Ruby, Nils Patnode, Lydia Stevenson.
Addison Alleman, Sophia Bevis, Caleb Hoyard, Jack Malik, Amelia Sasanfar, Matthew Smith, Brody Sorensen, Lucas Sylvester, Braden Diethelm, Holden Miller, Leonard Miller, and Jackson Oman. Our next recognition is the new AP Scholars with Honor from the 2022-23 school year.
The AP Scholars with Honor designation is granted by the College Board to students who receive an average score of at least 3.25 on all AP exams taken and who receive scores of 3 or higher on 4 or more of these exams. The students we will recognize tonight achieve the AP Scholar with Honor recognition for the first time based on their AP exams from the 2022-23 school year.
This requires an incredible amount of hard work and dedication. We asked our AP Scholars with Honor to share about a class at MHS that has inspired them and has had an impact on their academic journey.
Here's what they shared with us.
Hello, I'm Francisco Moreno. I'm a junior at MHS. I would like to thank the board for this honor. I've taken many AP classes throughout my high school career, and I really think they've helped me expand as a student and set me up for success.
Hi, my name is Georgia Constantine, and I'm a senior at Minnetonka High School. I'm proud to be part of the recognition program of our school. Both components of the AP Calculus course brought my education to a higher standard. The level of involvement from our teachers was amazing, and the knowledge acquired truly made a difference for my career in health science. Also, the tennis team accomplishments with third place in the state championship created a true family bond between our teammates.
My name is Tyler Dodge, and I'm a class of 2026 sophomore. I've taken AP Physics, which allowed me to better understand the amount of work the college level classes require. My teacher for that class, Ms. Anand Kumar, also showed me that a really difficult class can be fun if you just know how to find it. In its partner class, Honors Communications, I did many essay writing projects, which showed me that essays can be fun and they can help me express myself, and they don't need to be purely academic.
Hi, my name is Avery Masco Johnson, and I'm a junior at the class of 2025. This year, I was both an AP Scholar with honors, and I qualified for the cross-country state meet. My favorite AP class so far that I've taken through Minnetonka was probably AP Calculus my sophomore year with Mr. Whitcomb. It was a fun class, and I really understood the math behind it.
Our student honorees from the class of 2023 include Parker Adam, Kate Burchild, Ilana Berlin, Katrina Burneck, Sean Bradburn, Lucy Breckheimer, Ella Bricker, Keely Campuzano, Emma Collins, Reese Dawson,
Christina Deesmet, Grace Fernandez, Jack Frame, Gwendolyn Franklin, Spencer Funk, Caden Grussing, Madeline Heim, Abigail Howe, Graham Lant, Natalie Larson,
Sophia Larson, Skyla Lee, Savannah Link, Wilson Lindberg, Sam Luwaji, Jack McKelly, Jacob McCuskey, Tanner McPherson, Kira Northway, John O'Brien, Elaine Olson,
Joel Osterhus, Alexander Reichstadt, Margaret Rhodes, Keelan Sampson Gary, Abigail Schmidt, Alexandra Stone, Lauren Wick, Evan Wenzel, Max Westerland, Grace Wisnant, Henry Wilson, and Alexander Wittenberg.
AP Scholars with Honor from the class of 2024 include Maxwell Borchert, Aaron Burgoyne, Bela Botita, Hillary Carter, Ekaterina Kavanaugh, Julia Constantino, Sydney Cummings, Thomas DeMann, Paige Dillon, Charles Frank,
Ethan Freeber-Sicer, Allison Fu, Annabelle Fung, Brianna Giebel, Henry Good, Jordan Helling, Matea Johnston, Kira Keegan, Miles Kennedy,
Meredith King, William Keppen, Keely Lai, Megan Mann, Kira Martin, Anna McKinney, Victoria McKinney, Caleb Milstein, Jonathan Midendak, Taisir Nabi,
Maya Nierenstein, Jackson Oman, Ian Owens, Marianne Park, Noah Parker, Drew Pierce, Hudson Poole, Riley Pudwill, Drake Riga, Alec Ring,
Harrison Sand, Juliette Sicarla, Chase Snedeker, Jack Taddy, Madeline Thomas, Noah Tyler, Sophia Ugoretz, Annika Ulbrich, Ryland Vogstrom, Alexander Voss, Zoe Wartnick, John Wenseen, Wiley Wright, Fiona Zobel.
Our student honorees from the class of 2025 include Razine Abdul Field, Simon Arevalo Chavez, Molly Burr, Etta Bortel Fielder, Brady Botten, Lucas Brahma, Lauren Clancy, James DeBlock, Jackson Deutsch, Wyatt Elfstrom,
Walker Elvin, Nico Ferreira, May Fritzky, Jui Gatti, Daniel Gonzalez Villaseca, Molly Hansen Hilton, Cecilia Hitchcock, Broder Jagodzinski, Nathan Kaufman,
Grace Larson, Savannah Larson, Kaylin Lee, Amelia Mallet Harvey, John Malvin, Avery Morosco Johnson, Harper McMahon, Francisco Moreno, Ella Neal, Chandler Olson,
Cade Raby, Connor Regan, Nathan Reamer, Ella Roberts, Amelia Sassenfar, Benjamin Schmitz, Marcus Silver, Athena Timchuk, Eliana Wanless, Evangeline Wyant.
AP Scholars with honors from the class of 2026 include Tyler Dodge, Braden Lisinski, Aniruth Pulavarthi, Liam Sullivan, and Mark Turcott.
Congratulations again to each of our AP Scholars with honor. Minnetonka Community Education has been recognized with state and international awards this fall.
Minnesota Community Education Association has recognized the team with a 2023 Project Award for the MCE Hall of Fame program.
And the Learning Resources Network has recognized the MCE Hall of Fame project with an award for innovative and outstanding business, volunteer, and staff recognitions program.
Let's hear more from our Executive Director of Community Education, Tim Litvin.
Hello, school board members and community members. Tim Litvin here, Executive Director of Community Education in Minnetonka. I want to talk to you tonight about two outstanding awards that Minnetonka Community Education has just received. Both of them relate to the Minnetonka Community Education Hall of Fame. In October, the Minnesota Community Education Association, MCEA, awarded Minnetonka Community Education a 2023 Outstanding Project Award for our MCE Hall of Fame. On November 16th, we also received an International Learning Resource Award, LEARN Award, for our innovative and outstanding business, volunteer, and staff recognition programs that includes our MCE Hall of Fame. The MCE Hall of Fame seeks to recognize above and beyond achievements of volunteers, staff, and business partners who have stood the test of time and been a dynamic force for good in our community. Currently, there are 6 members in the MCE Hall of Fame. 3 were initially added in 2020, and 3 more in 2022. MCE will be adding new inductees early in 2024. The nomination process opens on December 11th. Please consider nominating one of your many well-deserved partners or volunteers that you know of. Minnetonka Community Education is humbled by these awards, and we want to thank both MCEA and LEARN for this fantastic recognition. With these 2 Fall 2023 awards and the LEARN Top 10 Community Education Award in America that we received this past June, MCE has now received 21 state or national awards since 2009. A tribute to this great community and to this great staff here at MCE, as well as our many volunteers. Thank you for the time tonight on your agenda.
Thank you to each of our community education employees and volunteers for your dedication to making Minnetonka Community Ed a top-tier program. To our community members, don't miss the opportunity to participate in the many events, classes, and opportunities our programs offer.
The community can learn more by visiting MinnetonkaCommunityEd.org.
Our last group for recognitions this evening is a set of staff members who gave extra time and effort during the month of October to facilitate the Minnetonka Schools Employee Charitable Giving Campaign.
For the past 23 years, Minnetonka staff have participated in an annual charitable giving campaign, altogether raising more than $1 million throughout the years to support nonprofit organizations that assist those in great need.
This year, our staff pledged together to raise an incredible $73,180.
All of the donations will support one of 3 nonprofit federations: Creating Healthier Communities, Open Your Heart to the Hungry and Homeless, and Greater Twin Cities United Way. Or they will fund programs at designated charities that were selected by our employees.
At each of our buildings in the district, we have campaign site coordinators who arrange activities and outreach efforts for staff in the buildings to promote engagement for the giving campaign. I'm grateful to each of them. I know that this was not an easy year to ask people to contribute, but the donations our staff raised are desperately needed by many people who are struggling this year.
Tonight, we'll honor each site coordinator for their amazing contributions in bringing staff together to accomplish this wonderful fundraising effort. The following staff members led the annual employee giving campaign for their buildings:
Danica Halverson and Linda Morantes from Minnetonka Community Education Center.
David Wickland from Clear Springs.
Karen Klepper, Mallory Brockamp, and Gina Kowalczyk from Deep Haven.
Emily Wisemore from Excelsior.
Sarah Klitsky from Groveland.
Kelly McCashin, Amy Payne, Nicole Johnson, Lisa McHugh, and Ivy Burkhart from Minnewashta.
Nicole Snedden, Amber Billmeyer, and Joe Walker from Scenic Heights.
Charlie Dorn from Minnetonka Middle School East.
Andrea Hoffman, Sarah Hunt, and Isaac Yates from Minnetonka Middle School West.
Jennifer Breidenbach, Elizabeth Hummel, and Emily Rosengren from Minnetonka High School.
Erin Valenta from the Sale Transition Program.
And David Law and Carrie Volts from the District Service Center and Tech Center.
I'd also like to thank staff member Annalise Peterson for designing and organizing a special Minnetonka Giving t-shirt sale. And finally, I'd like to give a huge thank you to our district-wide campaign chair, Executive Director of Communications, Dr. Jackie Getty. Coordinators, we are grateful for each of you and for each staff member who contributed to the giving campaign by giving so generously. You have all truly made an impact on our community. This concludes our recognition program for this evening. Thank you again for celebrating with us.
The December school board meeting will begin shortly.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the December 7th, 2023 Minnetonka School Board meeting to order. Can we all rise and say the pledge to the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Could I have a motion to adopt our agenda for this evening?
So moved.
Katie, is there a second?
Second.
Mark, any additions or questions? Nope. All right. It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We have an agenda for this evening. Our first agenda item this evening is always one of our favorites, and it is our school report from Minnetonka Middle School West. Superintendent Law.
Chair Wagner, members of the board, each month at our regular board meeting, we invite a different school to come and share with the board and the public an update from their school tonight. Tonight, Minnetonka Middle School West Principal Freya Schumacher will provide an update summarizing the first quarter highlights at MMW, as well as offering a snapshot of what is to come for the rest of the year at West. The report will specifically highlight our core values in action, ongoing work from staff, and continued focus on belonging, inclusion, and community at MMW. Principal Schumacher.
Thank you so much, Superintendent Law, Madam Chair, school board members, teachers, community members. I'm so excited today to talk a little bit about Minnetonka Middle School West and kind of what we're doing this year. We'll share a little bit of our work together, and then we'll also share a little bit of our student work. We have members of our student leadership team here today to present as well. So I wanted to start out just by sharing our kind of guiding document about our work together this year. So this document is our compass with our 4 kind of core anchors. We're going to talk a little bit about our school vision, our core values, our priorities and goals, and also a little bit about our program review. If you will, if our school was a PLC, these 4 anchors would be our essential learnings, or our boulders of what we're doing. So this is kind of the core work. We're going to talk a little bit about each one, starting with our vision. We in the past have created core values, but we never came together to really specify and identify what is it that we truly believe, what is it that we really want for our students. So late this summer, our leadership teams met and reviewed the district vision, the board vision, and we looked at that and said, what of this really resonates with us at the middle school? So members of our leadership teams, we kind of went through everything. We highlighted, we starred, we post-it noted, and we kind of distilled everything down to this statement, which we really view as our commitment and our promise to our community and to each other. So MMW will create and foster a safe learning community where all students feel a sense of belonging and can discover their purpose and reach their highest potential. So this is our big why. This is why we do what we do, and it encompasses the work that we do. So now I'm going to turn it over to Assistant Principal Andrea Hoffman, who's going to share a little bit about our core values.
Thank you, Freya. Along with our work that we did with our mission and our vision, we also took our leadership teams and really broke down what are our core values. We had a set of core values that we were operating under that we started right around the time of COVID and really focused on those things. But we know that middle school is unique and core values can shift. And we really wanted to center ourselves on what are those core values that are unique to our learners and our teachers and our building. So we came down to these 5. We have our nice welcome back sign for our students that we, as we started our year with our 5 core values that you can see there. So we have courage, integrity, empathy, joy, and belonging. So as we go through the year, we're focusing on one at a time and really having an opportunity to talk about these in advisory and really drill down to what each of those means to us. So belonging, started our year really to kind of set that tone and be able to think about how are we reaching each of our students and having a space for all of us feel like we belong, our staff included. Empathy is our focus right now, so we're shifting to from our belonging to our empathy, and you can see here we have our students that participate in our Best Buddies program. Along with that, throughout the year, we'll be talking about joy. This is a picture from our 6th and 7th grade party where we allowed our students to come and hang out on the field and just enjoy each other's company, and it was a great event put on by our PTO. We really thought courage is a new one for us this year, and we really thought about the courage that it takes to be a middle school student and to really live to who they truly are. And you can see some of our 6th graders here with our 6th grade play, the Finding Nemo kids. Integrity is a big piece, and while it's something that we'll dive much deeper into a little bit later this year, it really came to light for us on Unity Day as we talked with our students and our advisories, wore orange to celebrate unity, and talked about really what does it look like to stand up for respect at MMW. So you can see a couple of the advisory kind of brainstorms for that from our advisory classes. And next, I am going to introduce and kick it over to our assistant principal, Mr. Dalton Knase.
Superintendent Law, Madam Chair, the board, thanks for having us here. So with our work here and just stemming from our core values, we really are focusing on 4 key areas. One being our PLC work. So the district, this has been a really big revamp or a focus with the district, and working with Sarah White, Amy Ledoux, and the rest of the district office. But really just our teachers have done such a great job so far this year, supporting students through developing common and formative assessments together, collaborating, using data to progress monitor, but also make decisions as well. And then stemming out from there, creating interventions and effective extensions for kids to really, intervene when they need it, and then extend their learning when they also need it as well. Then moving across, we'll go to clarity and consistency. Really here we wanted to focus on student and staff school-wide accountability and expectations, and really we wanted to focus on clear communication, visibility for all of our staff and students, and we try to do this through everything we do at MMW. Another one is relationship-centered. This is one of those that stems from that belonging piece, and it stems from a board goal that we have, and then a core value as well. And we really want to ensure belonging and connection for all of our students through student connection, adult connection, community connection, so on and so forth. Few reasons why, or a few ways how we do that is we've identified some students. Our counselors have worked really hard to identify some students with our teaching staff, and we've really started to, we're just at the beginning stages of implementing a mentor-mentee program for those students of higher needs. And then, to stem from that in bigger picture, just really focusing on student involvement, which you'll hear from our student leadership team here soon, and they're just such an impressive group too. And then moving across, finally, our school-wide literacy focus. With the READ Act being passed, we've really emphasized this with staff through professional development, whether it's district-wide, school-wide. And then, with our students, we have DEAR time, which is Drop Everything and Read time every Wednesday. And so that's just emphasizing a school-wide literacy, along with implementing literacy through various content areas as well. I'll go ahead and pass it back over to our principal, Freya Schermacher, to introduce student leadership.
Yeah, thank you. I did want to mention just briefly, another one of our core anchors is our middle school program review, which obviously we've been working on and reporting on, and we'll follow up next week as well at the study session with more information about that. But one of the things about middle school is we both are very much in the moment of middle school and enjoying the moment, but it's also very aspirational. We're always thinking about what next. How might we create the best possible program to meet the unique needs of our middle schoolers? So that's it's been a big part of our work this year as well. So we kind of shared with you our framework and our foundational grounding for our work, but now obviously the real reason and purpose for everything we do representatives are sitting right behind me. They're going to tell you the real story about what's going on at MMW and just share a little bit about their work and what they're doing to build the culture, the community, and the learning and growth for our students. So I'll introduce, we have Pepper, Jax, Wyatt, Anya, Connor, and Madison, and they're going to each share different parts. So I don't remember who is first. Come on up.
All right, good evening, Superintendent Law, Madam Chair, and school board members. I'm Laura Rosati. I'm the 6th grade counselor over at MMW and the Joy Coordinator Extraordinaire.
My name is Lisa Reed. I teach 6th, 7th, and 8th grade computer science. And I'm Laura's boss for all things joyful. All right, based on the Happiness Advantage and the work of Sean Anker, we believe that if students and teachers are happy at school, we can have a positive impact on learning and student success at MMW.
And since having fun is in our blood, we've known each other since high school. We thrive as the co-leaders of our newly branded STULI, that's the name for our student leadership team. Our goal for this group is pretty simple: instill joy and positivity throughout the school while empowering our students of STULI to voice their ideas and take a role in making MMW a better place.
So tonight we're joined by our STULI students to share a few ways that we have spread positivity and sparked joy in our fellow students and teachers.
All right, now we're gonna let the students cook, as they say.
Take it away, Pepper.
Hello, my name is Pepper Smith, and I'm a 7th grader in student leadership in MMW. This year, student leadership has innovated creative ideas that not only highlight the key morals and values that our community holds dear, but bring students closer together. I like to think that the purpose of all human life is to have a task that makes you feel fulfilled. And tasks are the basis of all senses of connection and bonding. So we came up with fulfilling tasks that bonded the whole school community. Well, actually, one of our very own student leadership students came up with it, and our whole team instantly loved it. The idea was initially for a Halloween theme and spooky vibes throughout the hallway and classrooms, and we realized that a Lights Out initiative is not only a spooky twist to the day, but a reducing energy tactic in a fun, scarily popular event. Check out how one of our music teachers, Miss Mankey, embraced this event.
Hello, I'm Jax, a 6th grader at MMW. And Holiday Hallways is where choir, band, and orchestra students play holiday music in the hallways before school. This is a great way for students to showcase their talents. It's also a great way to start your day in an upbeat way.
Hello, my name is Wyatt. I'm an 8th grader at MMW. On December 18th, the Stooley team will set off a domino effect in the halls of MMW. This will represent how positive impacts can have a chain reaction. Our plan is to line the hallways with all of the mac and cheese donated, then set them off in a domino type fashion with the whole school watching. After the game of mac and cheese, dominoes, all of the boxes of mac and cheese will be donated to a local food drive called Bountiful Baskets.
Video to come.
Hello everyone, this is Anya, an 8th grader at MMW speaking. Not too long ago, the student leadership team had an acclaimed guest speaker come in to inspire us and help us channel our creativity and passion into making MMW a better place. We did team building exercises such as creating secret handshakes with people we'd pretty much never talked to before. We heard some inspirational stories of other leaders, some famous, some not, and we discussed what words we wanted MMW to be represented by. Think of it this way, if you came up to a student in the hallway and asked them for 3 words they would use to describe MMW, what words could we strive towards hearing? Our team came up with a group of words, but the 3 most popular ones were fun, kindness, and belonging. Also, while we're on the topic, I'd like to mention that belonging was initially inclusivity, but it was altered to fit our overarching goal of acceptance. As I like to put it, inclusivity is the school spreading its arms for you, but belonging is you stepping into them. I think this is important to remember as we strive tenaciously and resiliently to make MMW a better community. Using these 3 words, as well as others we came up with, we created a mission statement. As members of MMW's student leadership team, we will bring energy and strive to create a fun and friendly environment. We will show each other respect by being willing to communicate, having an open mind, working hard, and creating a sense of belonging. This is our team's workflow chart. As you can see, we have assigned roles to everyone, although most roles were self-elected, which shows that our student body is more than willing to take on responsibility to make the school a better place. We use this tool to increase organization, teamwork, and demonstrate enthusiasm. Now seems like a good time to give a quick shout out to Mason Heimerman, a valuable member of the student leadership team. Mason was willing to take on almost all roles, and he truly cares about the state of the school. He was a prime example of contributing to / leading the using the workflow chart.
Hi, I'm Connor Weldon, and I'm an 8th grader at MW. Our student and staff get to walk, ride, and roll to school. Last year, the students rode their bikes, walked, scootered, and even a student rode a unicycle to school. Check out this video.
How unique!
When you arrive at school, you go to the basketball court and there will be donuts, a DJ, stickers, and raffle tickets for those who chose not to drive a car or bus to school. This is our way of reducing emissions for one day.
Hi, I'm Addison Rogers and I'm an 8th grade at MMW. Spirit Weeks are fun, inclusive days where anyone can participate. Eden, the girl on the right, brought cake pops for everyone in her class on Barbie Day. How kind. People look forward to these days and there are fun themes like Hawaiian Day, USA Day. Next week, we have fun, inclusive holiday themes, like the most onesie-ful time of the year, where you can wear a onesie. It's also super fun to see what all your teachers wear.
I'm back. This year we wanted to give back to teachers, and there is no better way to give back to teachers than food. Every Tuesday, a group of around 10 students gets to school early to cook breakfast sandwiches for staff. Teachers put in their order, kids print them out, and make them fresh on the spot. We then deliver them directly to the teachers' classrooms. We charge each teacher $3, and this is how we pay for our student leadership speaker. We typically get 30 to 40 orders each day, and the teachers and principals absolutely love it, and we hope you will too. We've got breakfast sandwiches on the way, don't worry.
That's our little gift to you guys, because there wasn't dinner tonight, so we served it to you. I think, is that our last slide?
Yeah.
Okay. And they're still warm. They just cooked them.
Oh no, those are wrapped. Those are safe. So while the students are passing those out, do you have any questions for the students or for the team?
Thank you very much, MMW team. What a great, exciting time you guys have. Questions or comments from the board? Megan?
Could you repeat that statement about inclusivity and belonging? Because I didn't write it down fast enough.
Yeah. Inclusivity is like the school spreading its arms for you, and belonging is like you stepping into them.
Thank you.
Other questions or comments from the board? No? All right. Well, you guys are amazing. The future is very bright, so. Thank you very much, team, for coming. We really appreciate it. And we look forward to getting a video of the Domino's of the mac and cheese boxes, too.
Thank you, guys.
Yep. Okay, we have now reached the time in our meeting for community comments, which is an opportunity for the public to address the school board on an item included in our agenda in accordance with the guidelines. We do have a couple of people wishing to comment tonight, so I'm going to go ahead and read the guidelines. Welcome to the Minnetonka School Board meeting. In the interest of open communications, the Minnetonka School District wishes to provide an opportunity for the public to address the school board. That opportunity is provided at every regular school board meeting during community comments. Anyone indicating a desire to speak to an item included in the meeting agenda, except for the consent agenda and/or information that personally identifies or violates the privacy rights of an individual during community comments, will be acknowledged by the board chair. When called upon to speak, please state your name, address, and topic. All remarks shall be addressed to the board as a whole, not to any specific members or to any person who is not a member of the board. If there are a number of individuals present to speak on the same topic, please designate a spokesperson who can summarize the issue. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Longer time may be granted at the discretion of the board chair. If you have written comments, the board would like to have a copy, which will help them better understand, investigate, and respond to your concern. During community comments, the board and administration listen to comments. Board members or the superintendent may ask clarifying questions of you in order to gain a thorough understanding of your concern, suggestion, or request. If there's any response or follow-up to your comment or suggestion, you will be contacted via email or phone by a member of the board or administration in a timely manner. Please be aware that disrespectful comments or comments of a personal nature directed at an individual either by name or inference will not be allowed. Personnel concerns should be directed first to a principal or executive director of the department, then to the executive director of human resources, then to the superintendent, and finally in writing to the board. All right, the first individual we have is Kristen Berger. If you want to go ahead and come up to the podium, please.
Need my eyes, sorry. So, Madam Chairwoman, Mr. Law, and members of the board, thank you for the opportunity to address you this evening. My name is Kristen Berger, and I'm a special education teacher at Minnetonka Elementary. I asked to speak to you tonight on the long-term financial stability of the district because I hope to give you a slightly different perspective than many others here. I did not go to college to become a teacher right after high school. Instead, I was on a plane basic training at Fort Jackson, South Carolina. I served as a combat medic for 12 years between reserves and active duty. It would be decades before I would have the opportunity to go to school to be a teacher. I'm in my 5th year of teaching now, and I love it as much as I hoped I would. I have the pleasure of working with incredibly talented and passionate individuals, and that is a real gift. However, we face challenges with maintaining this incredible workforce. The cost of living has increased so much lately that it is becoming very difficult to make ends meet. Some expenses such as insurance, car repairs, and food have increased even more than others. One of the things on the agenda tonight is how to address the financial needs of the district. And I'm here to put a face on some of the numbers that you must consider. I'm one of the many teachers who works a second job to make ends meet. And if it were not for my VA disability, that wouldn't be possible, even with a second job. I hope that while you consider the many options for the budget this evening, that you will keep teachers in mind. I, along with my colleagues, love what we do. We love teaching, and I hope that we can afford to continue teaching. Thank you.
Thank you. The next is Gwyneth Jones Walker to comment on new course proposals, changes, and deletions.
Good evening, Madam Chairwoman, Mr. Law, and members of the school board. My name is Gwyneth Jones Walker, and this is my 31st year in this district. And I have been teaching here since I was hired in May of 93, started in fall of 1993 at MMW, no less. I'm speaking to the new course proposals, changes and deletions, agenda item 12. I'm very supportive of new courses, as I proposed and built several over my 3 decades. I've prided myself on working in this district and sharing my knowledge and passion for science through new courses with students for over 3 decades, and in that time, I've also become a mentor to third-year teachers and have been a mentor to 9 or 10 student teachers during their practicum teaching, some of who became teachers within this district here. So who is going to be teaching and maintaining these new courses? 10 to 15 years ago, when we used to have 1 to 2 student teachers in our science department every year doing a practicum semester or year, we now have maybe 1 every other year or none at all. There is a dwindling number of student teachers as fewer and fewer people are entering the realm of teaching, markedly so in some disciplines such as science. The lure to other jobs with more income, fewer hours outside of their contract time, or less stress have pointed young people into a direction of other professions instead of teaching. Being responsible for over 100 souls day in and day out, helping to encourage them, to nurture them, both educationally while supporting them emotionally every day, and working with individual needs is taking its toll. We're teaching more and more students who are anxious, struggling, are stressed and overwhelmed. We're working extra hard to accommodate our students while all the while trying to share the passion, the content, and new courses we so enjoy in helping them to succeed. And not only here, but beyond this realm in public education, outside of these walls. The millennial and Gen Z populations are taking note and choosing professions that, albeit the pressure and hours some have, at least compensate them for that work in higher salaries. Looking at the financial summaries provided by the district to the Department of Education, the percent of district revenue being allocated to teacher settlement is lower than the trend for the past 8 years. Why, in the year where the state has given the district more money than ever, including a special Ed Cross subsidy that frees up more money in the general fund, are we not offering teachers as much in the previous negotiations? So who will be teaching these new courses? If we are going to attract and hire the very best teachers to teach these new courses and maintain existing ones, meet the needs of our students while emotionally and academically supporting and educating our youth, district needs to step to the plate and compensate teachers with competitive wages and a message that resonates the appreciation and thanks for the commitment and dedication we are giving our students. Thank you.
Okay, we'll go ahead and move on. Our next agenda item is the adoption of the 2023 Payable 2024 Property Tax Levy. Superintendent Law.
Chair Wagner, members of the board, earlier tonight, we heard the Truth in Taxation hearing about the proposed property tax levy. The next part of that process, as mentioned in that hearing, was for the board to formally approve the 23 Payable 2024 Property Tax Levy. Executive Director of Finance and Operations, Mr. Bourgeois, is here to do that presentation. Mr. Bourgeois.
I'm pulling it up here, so give me a second. Okay, thank you. Madam Chair, members of the board, we have a few slides to go through, not as many as the public hearing, but this is the opportunity for the public at large to hear it who are viewing at home. So just a quick synopsis of our proposed property tax levy for 23, pay 24. We saw this before. We can levy in over 40 different categories, maximum levy amounts approved by either state law or voter approval. Our proposed payable 24 tax levy is an increase from 2023 of $3,263,905 or 5.2%. Changes for the levy by levy category and reasons for the increases are following. This is our overall levy. Its major categories are called general fund or general levy overall, general fund levy, community service, debt service. We have a total levy of all funds of $65,877,698. Again, $3,263,905 more than the prior year, or 5.2%. The major changes are related to voter-approved operating referendum, $1,360,000. That's about double the normal amount that we get. Typically, it increases at about 2% for normal years of inflation. 4.35% was the estimated inflation for going forwards by the Department of Education. So $91.92 per pupil, so about double of the normal $600,000 or $700,000 that we get every year. And then the other big chunk was the $1,630,000 in the voter-approved technology referendum. It's based on the tax rate that's applied to all the taxable property in the district. Actually, the district's tax base in calendar 22 increased about 21.4%. So this levy is going up from about 7.6 million to 9.2 million. And it was recently reapproved and reauthorized by our voters for another 10 years. So thank you, voters, in that regard. And actually, this would have increased this amount no matter what, because our current levy authority that we were extending also had that bump in it because they used the calendar 22 for the 23 pay 24 levy. So those are the two big dollar amounts, $3 million of the total $3.2 million in terms of changes. We have some 4-year levy comparisons. There's two that are shown. One is no change, and one is if a house or property was reassessed at the 24.4% increase in property values that was cumulative over the last number of years for residential homes. So if you look at this chart, the grayed out box about 2/3 of the way to the right, you see an average residential home price of $500,000 would actually be going down if there was no change in property values, and it'd be about a $69 decrease. This is in chart form. So you can see, again, no changes. There are some properties in the district that would be in this situation. Most will be probably closer to the other situation that follows. But you can see a steady decrease over time because the total value of the district has been changing and increasing over time in terms of the value of properties as new properties are added or new properties are improved. So there's a $700,000, you see, again, decreases there, and a $900,000 decreases there. If a property was reassessed based on the cumulative changes in overall property value, there are some properties here that are in the district that are experiencing this. There's others that might have had increases some years and not in other years. So we're kind of doing the two bookends. And but if for a $300,000 residential property for 24, their property taxes will be going up by $29. For a $500,000 property, about $46. A $700,000 property going up about $79, and a $900,000 property going up about $102. So we don't have public comments on here. The next item is to actually have you consider the levy and then approve it for submission to Hennepin County. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bourgeois. Could I have a motion that the School Board of Minnetonka Independent School District 276 does hereby certify the 2023 payable 2024 property tax levy in the amount of $65,877,698.30, and that the Deputy Clerk of Minnetonka Independent School District 276 is directed to deliver a signed copy of the 2023 payable 2024 levy certification to the county auditors of Hennepin and Carver counties prior to December 30th, 2023, and deliver a copy to the Minnesota Department of Education Program Finance Division no later than December 30th, 2023.
So moved.
Katie, is there a second?
Second.
Chris? Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Discussion or questions from the board? No? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much, Mr. Bourgeois. All right, our next agenda item is the acceptance of the FY23 audit. Superintendent Law.
Chair Wagner, members of the board, on an annual basis, every Minnesota public school district needs to go through an audit by an outside party to run through a variety of state and federal requirements for all public agencies. This board had the benefit of hearing this at the November work session, November 16th. Tonight we'll hear a summary of that audit before the board accepts it. Mr. Bourgeois.
Thank you, Superintendent Law, Madam Chair, members of the board. Two people I want to thank for producing all the data that goes into this audit is Jessica Hewlett, who's our coordinator of accounting and audit, and Ash Mooney, who is our coordinator of budget and financial systems. Did a lot of the work, and we have a great accounting staff. We're small but mighty, and so we've got everything together, and Clifton Larson Allen has put us through the proverbial ringer to make sure everything's in the right place. So Lance Lowinger is the director from Clifton Larson Allen is here to do the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you for allowing me to be here tonight. Craig Popenhagen, the principal on the engagement, was planning to be here, but had kind of a last minute thing that came up that didn't allow him to be here. So apologize for that. I want to start off by thanking Paul, Jess, Osh, and the rest of the Minnetonka finance staff. An audit is a ton of work, and they do a great job of preparing for us and helping us work to issue the audit. So I want to thank everyone for all their hard work. I have a brief presentation. Just we've already went through a few things in the last couple meetings, so I'll try to keep it brief. But just wanted to cover some high-level financial results and then also the results of the audit. So this year's audit results, the first item on there is the audit opinion, the piece that we're all here for. So this year we are issuing what we call a clean or unmodified audit opinion. That is the best audit opinion we can give any school district within the state of Minnesota. As part of our audit, we audit under what we refer to as Yellow Book compliance, which is government auditing standards. There's a compliance aspect to this. If there was anything that came up as part of that, that would be a non-compliance within Yellow Book guidance. We would note that here. Happy to report there's no non-compliance with Yellow Book. Internal controls, we do testing over internal controls as part of our audit. We don't provide an opinion on the internal controls, but we do assess controls and make sure they're operating effectively. During our testing, there were two items that came up. One we referred to as a material weakness and one a significant deficiency. Material weakness, just over an adjustment that was required for retainage payable. Just an item that came up as it's a reconciliation process and accounts payable along with contracts payable. There was just an item missing there that we required an entry to book in retainage payable into the correct year. That also had an impact on capital assets, construction in progress, and accumulated depreciation. As part of our testing for any entity that receives over $750,000 of federal funding, you're required to undergo what we refer to as a single audit. This year, as part of our single audit testing, we tested three major programs: the Child Nutrition Cluster, the Special Education Fund, and the Education Stabilization Fund. During that testing, we did have two items that came up as material weaknesses for the Child Nutrition and the Special Education Fund, one for suspension and debarment, so it's just documentation around suspension and debarment, and then material weakness for procurement, so some just missing documentation for the procurement process. And the last thing here is just the Minnesota legal compliance. So the OSA puts out checklists over 7 different areas where we run through and check that the district is in compliance with Minnesota statutes and regulations. As part of that part of that testing that we did, there was one item that came up. This is by far the most common item that we typically see within Minnesota legal compliance. It's what we refer to as a 35-day finding. So the requirement is any invoice is required to be paid within 35 days. And for various reasons, a payment can go out after 35 days, whether, an invoice gets to a school district and doesn't make its way to the finance department in time to make the payment in time. So by far the most common legal compliance finding that we have. Next, I just have a couple of slides just to go over just the overall audit results, financial results for the district, just very high level. And you'll see more detail within the financial statements. Again, I just want to plug the MD&A section of the financial statements. Paul and his staff do a really great job of providing a lot of really great detail on what caused a lot of the change in the financial statements. So if you have any questions, that generally does provide a very good paper trail of what occurred during the year to cause changes in the financial statements. This first slide is we're looking at the general fund balance, and specifically the unassigned and the total fund balance for the fund. And this graph just shows that in comparison to the overall general fund expenditures. General fund, again, is just your general operating fund. Your day-to-day activities roll through this fund. The general fund had revenues of about $167.8 million for the year. That was about $867,000 greater than what you had budgeted. The expenditures for the year came in at about $170.1 million. That was about $2.3 million or 1.3% greater than what was budgeted. And the general fund had a budgeted spend down of, you were expected to decrease your budget or your fund balance by about $894,000. It actually decreased a little bit less than that, coming in at about $499,000. So your fund balance did decrease a little bit, but that was budgeted. Overall, your unassigned fund balance came in. This is the piece that you have, discretion over spending. You're making decisions on. So it came in at about $18.9 million, which is about 11.16% of that $170.1 million in total expenditures in the general fund. The district's policy is to have your unassigned fund balance at about greater than 6%. So you continue to trend above that over the last 5 years. Next is just a quick slide on the enrollment and change over the last 10 years. Your enrollment came in at 11,259 ADMs for the year. That was up about 36 from 2020. And as you can see, over the last 10 years, your enrollment has increased almost 17%, a little over 1,600 from 2014. Looking at the general fund expenditures by your object codes here, again, total general fund expenditures came at $170.1 million for the year, 2.2 million within in the budget, or 1.3%. The biggest variance that we see is just was purchase services, and really the cause of that variance over budget was really due to, we implemented a new standard this year, GASB 96, which related to SBITAs, and that had an impact on that category, and really an object that was hard to budget for until the implementation of that standard. So, looking at the food service fund, revenues for your food service fund came in at about $6.3 million. That was down about $421,000 from 2022. Your expenditures came in at $5.7 million for the year. That was up about $708,000. And your overall fund balance in the fund increased about $617,500 for the year. Served about 932,000 lunches to students this year, which was down about 113,000. This next graph is just showing the change in meals served over the last 5 years. Again, $932,000 for the year. As you can see, the big change here in the graph is just due to the impacts of COVID in 2021 and 2022, where all of the meals were coming from external funding. Next is just your community service fund, so your community education programs. Total revenues in the community education fund came in at just over $15 million. That was up about $1.9 million from 2022. Your expenditures increased similarly, about $1.9 million, coming in at $13.2 million for the year. Both of these increases just the result of increased attendance for these various programs, coming out of COVID. And the community service fund saw a fund balance increase of about $1.8 million. So a healthy community service fund balance of just $4.6 million in your community service fund. This is the last financial slide I have here is just looking at your expenditures per ADM, and it's those last 3 years are the 3 columns on the right, and this is just showing in comparison to that first column is all districts within the state of Minnesota, the 7-county metro area, and then districts with enrollment greater than 4,000. And again, that data is a year behind. We don't yet have all of 2023's data, so this year's is in comparison to last year's data for statewide. A couple things just to point out. I think I reiterated this at the workshop, but just kind of wanted to point this out as well. But your total expenditures per ADM come in at about $17,706. When you compare that to the 7-county metro, you're about $812 per ADM lower than the 7-county metro average. Couple things to note, when you look at your categories like your administrative expenses, your operating, and your capital, you'll notice the district is below the 7-county metro. Your admin, for example, is about $244 below the 7-county metro. Your operating and maintenance expenses are about $173 below, and your capital expenditures are about $409 below. And which is, I think, important when you look, because when you compare that to your instruction expenditures, which come in at about $8,162, that's about $1,400 higher. So just a really good example of where the district spends its dollars. And I think a good representation, just a nice thing to see. That is all I have. Here to answer any questions you may have on the financial statements or the audit. We appreciate being able to work with the district and glad to be here tonight. So.
Thank you very much. We really appreciate the great partnership we've had with your firm all these years. So, could I please have a motion that the Minnetonka School District School Board of Minnetonka Independent School District 276 does hereby accept the fiscal year 2023 audit as performed by the auditing firm of Clifton Larson Allen LLP and directs administration to file the audit with the Minnesota Department of Education. So moved. Patrick, is there a second? Katie? Any discussion or questions? Any questions? I know we had an opportunity to ask questions as well previously, so no? All right, seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you again. Okay, we will now move on to our next agenda item, which is the update on long-term financial stability, including enrollment cap and possible future budget reductions. Superintendent Law.
Chair Wagner, members of the board, as the board has had a goal for the last 2 years of long-term financial stability, tonight we're going to follow up on a presentation we had last month discussing options to balance the budget over the next biennium to address budget shortfall. That includes, as we'll cover tonight, enrollment cap adjustments or possible future budget reductions. Executive Director of Finance and Operations, Paul Bourgeois, is here to run a summary that you probably have seen many, many times, but get to a spot about how we might right-size the balance so we can avoid as many cuts as possible. Mr. Bourgeois.
Thank you, Superintendent Law, Madam Chair, members of the board. Appreciate the ability to actually do this in open session. We've actually talked about this for a number of years in study sessions, which aren't televised. So it's a nice opportunity to actually have the public at large also hear this story. I don't know if any of you know about Greek mythology, but there was a person called Cassandra who was destined to be able to foretell the future, but have nobody believe her. We've been talking about potential issues for a long time, working to try to change those things, but we're at the point in time where we're at an inflection point and we need some help from the legislature. So this is a chart that I put together on our budget reduction cost containment history since fiscal year 1996. And why that year? The 1994 legislature actually changed funding and moved more from local property taxes to state aid. And in the words of my predecessor, Tom Berge, he said, well, the era of affluence was over when I was asking about why the change. And when that happened, the district entered into, you can see a period of about 10 years where there was primarily either deficit spending, which is the red zeros, or budget cuts. I show them as high numbers, is going up, but significant budget cuts. In the 2000s, 5 out of 6 years, significant budget cuts. That was on a much smaller budget than we have now, because we had 7,700 kids as our peak of enrollment in 2000, and we started declining a little bit before the school board decided to try to utilize open enrollment. One important point about that $3,285,000 budget cut, that was 5.2% of their budget at the time, which would be equivalent to about $8.3 million today. So it was very significant. But the thing is what you see on this graph is after that, we have been a unicorn in the state. While everybody around us goes through budget cuts on sometimes year after year, sometimes every other year, we've had an 18-year run of no budget reduction process. So how did we make that happen? We made it happen because we were able to generate large amounts of ongoing revenue, not one time, ongoing revenue over and above what the state would provide. Because we are actually one of the lowest in annual receipts of revenue from the state in terms of state aid. We are in the lowest decile of 330 districts in the state and are the lowest in the metro area. This is a graphic to kind of demonstrate how this was possible. So we were basically able to fly high for 18-year runs because of 4 major kind of general areas of revenue. We get state aid, our revenue formulas from the state, local levy, revenue formulas from the state. So actually those local levy ones were some of the ones that you approved today a little bit earlier. But then we averaged, for about 15 years, we averaged open enrollment growth of 223 students per year. And this year, our open enrolled students bring enough revenue with them to provide for their own education in their direct costs and have about over $1,500 left over for every single resident student. And that allows us to have regular instruction for every single resident students be 20 to 25% higher than it would be otherwise if we didn't have those open enrolled students. And the reason for that is we have the administration of the district that we would have to have at 11,000 students, at 11,500 students, at 7,700 students. So it is actually very cost effective, and that's what made it possible. That's what has made it possible. We also passed 3 significant operating referendum cap increases. One in 2007, one in 2015, and one in 2015 was for 2017 and 2020 increases. In 2007, we were facing another $2.3 million budget deficit. I just started with the district at the time. And it was going to be another $3.1 million revenue shortfall on what was a $74 million budget at the time. And at that time, the Bill Morris survey, which became Morris-Leatherman and now is Leatherman surveys, showed 60% opposition to an increase of $436 and $4 million in revenue. So we figured out a way to actually bond for long-term maintenance, which was going to be, which was improvements that we were doing to the buildings, which were needed because they're getting to be 40, 50, 60 years old. And the green bar is what we had been spending on a pay-as-you-go basis for these long-lived improvements. We started bonding for them, and we were able to squeeze that down to the green bar on the right. That allowed us to ask the public to say, hey, can we fill in that gap that we're creating and fill it in with operating funds for the students? and it was basically attached neutral referendum. So we figured out that, gave them that information, and they said, yep, we want you to do that, go ahead. So that passed, and that revenue has actually still been renewed and grown with inflation and renewed since then. So we're still actually receiving that layer of revenue. We got 65% approval. We also extended the capital projects referendum levy that was passed in 1992 originally and just renewed this past year. Now this is a slide to show, okay, what would happen if we had not expanded the physical capacity of the district. And you can see red is total students, and blue is resident enrollment. Actually, resident enrollment has still continued to decline to this day, actually. But open enrollment, the board had made the decision to go after open enrollment. And with the capacity of the buildings that had been built from the 1996 bond issue, we had a capacity for about 8,200 students. And if we had gone up to 8,200 students, we'd have got there in a couple of years, because there's a lot of appetite for particularly the Spanish immersion program and the Chinese immersion program, among other things. But we would have then been back in that same flat level of capacity, because we'd have been full, and as we were in the early 2000s. And we saw on that first chart what happened when you had flat capacity. So we would have basically been back in that cutting mode. But instead, we've done over 100 bond issues out of operating capital and lease levy, which are ongoing revenues, so it's no tax increase to the taxpayers. But we use those levers of about $4.5 million a year to make bond payments to basically add 142 classrooms, 61 small group rooms, our gymnasiums, all that list of things, $99 million in capacity improvements, all done without increasing taxes on the taxpayer. And of course, all those rooms have to be filled up with personnel. They're being filled with students, they've been filled up with personnel. So we've grown our employment along with growing our students. So we ended up with this instead. And that enrollment growth has been, along with the referendums, has been what's making the difference. Then in 2015, we had to renew our referendum, and there had been some changes in 2014 by the legislature, and we had more capacity under the enrollment cap, the operating referendum cap, to basically ask our taxpayers if they'd be willing to allow us to collect more dollars for operations. The thing is if we'd have ran it all one time, it had been about a 25% increase in one shot. So we came up with, we euphemistically call it, kind of fun a little bit, called the Tonka two-step. We asked them for 2 steps, $340 immediately, that would be for FY17, and then another $340 that would be available for FY20. So there was 2 more modest increases. So we asked the community for what we needed when we needed it, and the operating referendum passed with 72% support. And those additional funds, which we're still getting today, are what sustain the district through FY23. The other thing to point out is why these are important is our general operating fund, which is a subset of what you just saw with the audit general fund, which has all those other funds rolled into it, our other sub-funds. 88% of our general operating fund is salary and benefits, of which 67% is teaching staff salary and benefits, and another 10% is paraprofessional salary and benefits, pushed to the classroom, and that's what we should do. The thing is compensation in normal years, pre-inflation years, would tend to go up about 4% a year, and revenue from the state and also our levy increase, or our inflation increase on our operating referendum, which is our biggest chunk of local revenue, would go up only about 2% a year. So we were figuring out ways to actually make up that difference. Now, the thing is we started talking about now, back in 2017, I went to Dr. Peterson and I said, we need to get the referendum cap increased if we're going to get it to 2030, if we're going to be able to continue this to 2030, because our referendum dollars were going to run out about 2023, or not run out, but be absorbed with increased costs. And we were at the referendum cap with that 2-step referendum. So we actually, in the 2018 legislative position statements, we have increased the operating referendum cap by $600. Also provide inflation increase to local optional revenue, and then also, hey, we need more money on the basic formula because the state has only been giving us 2%. We finally got 4% for 1 year this time, but another 2% for next year. Well, thank you, but it doesn't keep up. It doesn't keep up. And the thing is so also that in 2018, went into a little more detail with the board. Board Chair Pam Langseth had all of us do presentations on visioning for the future, and this was a slide that I presented. What if there was a pathway to fiscal year 2030? How do we keep it going? If we increased our enrollment by 100 students per year through FY23, another 500 students, we'd create an additional layer of ongoing revenue, and then we need to lobby the legislature by 2022 so that we could run a referendum in the fall of 23 of $600 per student, which would then generate another $7.6 million of additional yearly revenue. That's what it takes to get us to 2030. But what we've had is, we have not had success at the legislature. So our airplane has one engine shut down on the right because we can't ask for another chunk there. And then we've had the enrollment cap for good reasons, but our airplane has another engine shut down on the left. So what that means is that generates this financial projection. And in past years, if we had additional enrollment growth, a lot of these negative numbers would be pushed out. But the thing is without changes, these negative numbers are pretty much going to be, they're pretty much baked in the pie. We're showing here right now, this is our interim, I have the interim budget because we have changes since the adopted budget. We're still showing a surplus for this year yet, but then we start dipping into negatives for 25 because our percentage increases on our headcount basis, and most of our revenue comes on, I call it butt time units. It's students in attendance, generate almost all the revenue. We had that situation. So one of the things that we talked about at the last study session and was asked to project in is what would happen if we increase the K-12 in-person enrollment to 11,250. And so you can see how that makes a difference, and it pushes things out a little bit, and it gives us more time because we really need to work. We really need to work with the legislature. We got to roll double Yahtzee, and we need a lot of people helping talking to them. We need additional revenue, and if they're not going to give it to us at the state level, our platform that we're going to be talking about in a few minutes is all related to, hey, just let us ask our local people. Give us a chance. We're asking the legislature to give us a chance. We've been asking them to get for the ability to have the chance to ask since the 2018 platform. We haven't gotten their ear. Not our local legislators, not any legislators. We got to keep trying because we have to. But that's where we're at, and so that's how we are where we are. And we need some luck at the legislature, and I guess that's all I got. Thanks.
Chair Wagner, members of the board, tonight this is not a decision point. The board has asked Mr. Bourgeois to come up with ways to minimize cuts moving forward. We're looking at, if you looked at the second to the last slide, about $1.7 million in cuts for the next school year. An enrollment cap, and assuming that we can balance that across the system, maintaining class size to the best of our ability, gets those cuts down just over 200,000, 300,000 for that year. There's still the next year, so there's $4.5 million, so it gives us a session. Tonight, this is the first chance for the board to have this discussion or see this information publicly, and then this will roll over to the next board meeting in January for a final decision during the enrollment window.
Thank you, Superintendent Law and Mr. Bourgeois. So questions or comments from board members for Mr. Bourgeois? Deep thoughts? Yeah, it's a big topic, right? I think, Mr. Bourgeois, maybe could you remind us to, I think there's always been a lot of commentary about the recent state funding. Could you talk about what happened to Minnetonka in the last legislative session and what we got or didn't get, as the case may be?
Well, there was a lot of state funding put into categoricals, but because of some demographic information, we don't qualify for a lot of that. So we got 4%, like every school district in the state, on the basic formula, and 2% next year. We got the increase in the cross-subsidy revenue. But then really after that, we basically on all the other compensatory aid and all those other things, we got an average of, I have a chart in my office, and I actually have it physically because it's really, I should have brought it maybe, physically impressive when you unroll it down, and we are at the bottom of 331 districts at $63 per kid, and some of the districts got several thousand in these categoricals. So, and that was a chart that was produced by the legislative analyst at the state, the House legislative analyst. So the thing is you know, and we are where we are because our local taxpayers have been allowed to support us. That's what has made the difference. In terms of you know, going forward, again, we're asking for them to give us a chance. So, but that is not something. Unfortunately, that's not something new. Average state aid in the next item. In the last comparative data, average state aid in the general fund, in terms of general operating fund dollars, we are $1,536 below the state average in FY22, and that's just for that year. So if you take that times 12,000 kids, that's $16 million less than the state average in state aid. If we were getting that money, we'd be having all kinds of different conversations. So again, we need some help.
Thank you. Question? Did you have a question? No? Comment?
Well, not a question, more of a conversation, because when we discussed this last meeting, we talked about the two different charts where we're looking at enrollment also. And what would that look like when we talked about it at, just because now this is for the public to hear also, what would that look like when we talk about classroom?
So we're currently today 11,120 students, which is 20 over the cap. We haven't accepted a new open enrolled students in September because we've been over the cap since the school year started. And part of that happened, fewer students withdrew over the summer than they have in the last few years. But we have put a freeze on open enrollment. The open enrollment window by statute hits again in mid-January for the next school year. But with where we currently are, that adjustment would be about 10 students per grade, or about a student and a half per elementary school per grade. Certainly at the middle school, so it would be 5 students per grade, 15 students at either middle school, and then 40 students at the high school on campus. If it breaks out, you know, if you look at the percentage of open enrollment across our system, it ranges between 37 and 39%. It's pretty equivalent. Certainly we have a class size range that we try very hard. So I've shared with the board over and over again, 86% of our classrooms at the elementary level fall in that range. For that 14%, we wouldn't, you know, we're working to back out of those that are over the range moving forward, if possible. There is still room across the system to add a student at a grade level in a building and stay within that range. But I can't be clear enough about this. The budget balances more because we don't add teachers for those 110 students. If we add 5 teachers to that, the budget goes from 1.6 million to 2.1 million in the whole. The only way that open enrollment addresses budget shortfalls is if we put students where we have space in a classroom and don't hire teachers.
Go ahead.
So for the purpose of the conversation, we really asked Mr. Bourgeois to come up with ideas, right? And we need time in order to work with our legislators. We really need to raise that cap, but we need time in order to have those conversations. Looking at that enrollment at a nominal number per grade, per building, is one way to do that. It's a very small number per grade, per building. You can see the dollars on how it would make a small impact. It's a small impact, but it is an impact. So I like the idea, and I would like to have the conversation with the board and to see what their appetite would be for that.
Megan?
So I have a couple of clarifying questions on the chart. More actually for the public, because there are things that I always question when I look at it. And just, so when we're looking at that top row, and the green was what we adopted, or the column, the green was what we adopted, and the blue was the interim. like the very top row, green said plus 3.09 teacher full-time. Blue is, so we were expecting to need to hire 3, but we in actuality hired 2. Is that correct? I always get confused on that top row.
All right, sorry about that.
No worries.
Should've just left it up. Let's see, are we looking at?
I'm looking at the last one that had the change in
very last
enrollment.
slide?
Yeah, this one.
Okay, basically with our adopted budget, yeah, we hired 3.09 FTEs for the, and we got a little note down there that we also have some assigned for online, but they're part of the whole teacher calculation in this. So we added a net of 3.09 teacher FTEs at the adopted budget. And then right now, we're actually looking at, we actually added, the way to read that blue is then we added another 2.07. So it's actually cumulative. We haven't adopted the interim budget yet. We're putting it together. I mean, the amended budget. We put an amended budget together, and we'll bring it in February and adopt it in March. But that has all the changes that are that might have been done after the adopted budget that need to be updated. So that's why we amend the budget, because there's changes. There's also sometimes changes in revenue. Like for instance, I've been working on investing our cash to generate additional revenue that way. And hey, scrape up whatever we can. And so some of the revenues will change a little bit. We also had a little bit of a change in enrollment compared to the initial estimate. And so all that stuff gets added in on the amended budget too, besides any expenditures that we've added.
Okay, and then second clarification, when you're looking at the enrollment, just for the public, that is both in-person and online learning, right? So our cap has been for in-person, and that number, that 11,372, a chunk of those are online learners, so they're not in our buildings, correct?
Yes, the actual, well, so this is actual 11,242 does include 11,100 plus the online. And then 11,372, you're correct, that would be the 11,250 plus Tonka online.
So current numbers are 11,120 with about 122 students online. And then the projection forward here, this is if you added 250 students, assumes the same 122 students online and a raised cap.
And then last one, I promise. It was in our packet, but you didn't really mention it in the presentation. This, when it's looking at salaries and wages, this was all calculated just kind of on the basic increase of 4%. And so that'll all be impacted, right, by negotiations going out also?
Yeah, we always put an estimated dollar amount in for negotiations, yes. So that's, if we exceed what the estimate is, then that would change. Yeah. One of the reasons that we haven't done an amended budget, typically sometimes we bring it in as early as December and then adopt it in January. But we're still talking. So yeah.
Other questions or comments from board members? No, I know there will be, a lot more continued conversations, which some of us won't be a part of, but I would, just really encourage the board to think thoughtfully about Mr. Bourgeois' analogy of the multiple engines, right? I think that we have been successful in the past by not putting all of our, eggs in one basket or flying only on one engine. We have some control as a board on some of these items. And so it's important for us to thoughtfully and prudently use that control to help mitigate some of these financial issues. Because, certainly we would love to be able to have the referendum cap raised so that we can have dialogue with our community and they can make the decision about whether or not they want to support that. But right now we can't do that. And that doesn't solve our problem. And as Katie mentioned, it might take some more time we don't know how much time we've been at it for a while already. So, certainly I think we need to be very thoughtful about trying to use all of the tools in our toolkit versus trying to put, too much mileage on only one of them. The state has not come through for us. We did not get the kind of money that a lot of districts got. So it's very important for us to think about where other places are that we can help, have revenue to secure our programs and our great staff and all of those things, so. Last chance on this topic. Anybody else? No? All right. Then we will go ahead then and move on to our next agenda item, which is the approval of new course proposals, changes, and deletions. Superintendent Law.
Chair Wagner, members of the board, at the work session in November, we reviewed a list of new course proposals. Course proposals that come through that are new are based on a variety of things, from changes in standards, student interest, student enrollment, career pathways and expansion. You saw a list of those. I do want to draw your attention to one topic that wasn't covered in November, and that was the Tonka Online computer modeling program. That satisfies the need for a low enrollment in-person class that is also offered online. But we have, should we need it, Associate Superintendent for Instruction, Dr. Amy Ledoux here, but I'm bringing these courses forward for board approval tonight.
Thank you, Superintendent Law. Could I have a motion to approve the new course proposals, changes, and deletions as presented?
So moved.
Katie, is there a second?
Second.
Megan? Any discussion or questions from the board? No? All right, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. Our next agenda item then is the approval of the MCE fees, which we will take in sections, starting with ECFE. Superintendent Law.
Chair Wagner, members of the board, on an annual basis, the board meets with Community Education Director Tim Litvin and reviews proposed fees, because these will go into brochures and be rolled out to parents for the next year's program. Tonight, you're going to see some recommendations to adjust fees based on cost of program, extending program, or maybe not adjusting fees. I have Mr. Litvin here to run through those fees tonight.
Thank you, Superintendent Law, Madam Chair, board members, community members, good evening. I've got Jenny Bedurka and Molly Bonneman here with me as well this evening. First thing is a little brag point, and that's the badge from Learn, which we earned last June for a top 10 program in America, so that's front and center. Next thing that we bring to the board each year at this time is the census for the 0 through 4 population. This is a rolling every 5-year average, and so you can see the new number that just came through Jessica Shola's office in the past week at 1,733. Down a little bit, but that's our number on a rolling average. Our catalog for the winter spring just came out here a couple of weeks ago. And another kind of a fun thing to talk about is registration. And on one day, opening day, you can see what brought in, and it's 1,000 more registrations than 1 year ago. The most we've seen in a catalog in the first day. And this chart next shows a little bit more of that opening day from the last several catalogs. And really, if you look at just the last 12 months, these catalogs have done very well, opening day as well as opening week. And so just another thing to talk about tonight besides the fees. Holiday Family Giving is going on this week with those that are donating items at MCEC, as well as those that will be picking them up. And so if you want to really see a cool sight tomorrow, come to MCEC tomorrow morning, room 20, and the room will be packed with things that people have donated. And this year we're servicing 117 families, thanks to many people in this room and many of our buildings across the district. It's a cool thing that MCEC organizes every year. And I've got Molly Bonneman, and I'll bring up next, and she'll talk about Minnetonka ECFE.
Superintendent Law, Madam Chair, members of the board, it's nice to see you tonight. I'm here to talk about Minnetonka Preschool and ECFE. Some information about our ECFE. This is information about our core ECFE classes. You can see our sliding fee scale. So part of our levy is that we offer programming to families on a sliding fee scale. In Minnetonka, we don't require them to provide any documentation. We allow self-selection. I've been doing some data over the last 3 years just to know what families are selecting when they register, and so you can see on the left what our families did this year. In terms of ECFE program, we also offer a lot of free community programming. So we do outreach every week in 2 of the multifamily housing units within our district. And it's just so that people that can't get to the building have access to the wonders that are ECFE. Minnetonka Preschool, you can see some of our really fun kiddos. Those are our 4-year-olds on the left, a 3-year-old on top, and a 4-year-old down below. Our open house is coming up. It'll be on Saturday, January 27th from 9:30 to 11:30 in the morning. It's a chance for families to come, ask questions, learn more about what we have to offer and the uniqueness that is Minnetonka Preschool. This year I've given 37 tours so far. It's my favorite part of my job. People are just excited to be in the building, and they usually come when it's really busy, and so they're like in classrooms and the kids are coming up to them and like, what are you doing here? Are you a mom? Are you having fun? Do you want to play with me? And they're just like, oh my God, yes, I want to do all of that. Do I have to go back to work? So when we survey our parents, and we just did a survey this fall, which we do every year, we added some information this year asking families about what they were seeking for the next year to help us do some better planning about what to offer. The reasons why they choose Minnetonka Preschool, and there are so many preschools within our district bounds, and so we have a lot of competition. The number one is that it is a part of our Minnetonka School District. Number 2 is our reputation. There was actually someone on the survey who said their doctor heard that we were a really great place to be, and that's a really good endorsement. So licensed teachers in the classroom, we are unique in that and have been for a long time. Our location and our facilities, it really has a good vibe when you walk in the building. It feels like a preschool, even though there's so many things going on at the same time. And people note that as soon as they walk in the doors. Wow, I really like the way it feels in here. And then we have options for wraparound care with Junior Explorers Childcare. So we can have a family in our building from 6:30 in the morning till 6 o'clock at night, if that's what they need. Our enrollment this year is down a bit from last year. And I think that when I look at the data, what that is that we had a smaller 3s preschool class last year. Those are the kids that really were born into COVID. So that's now our 4-year class, which is typically our bigger class of students. But our 3s program is exploding. So I don't foresee that this is a trend. I just think it's kind of, again, just aftermath of what COVID has been. So you'll notice that like we offer different numbers of sections and our capacity changes over time, and it really depends on which classes I'm offering. So if I have a pre-3s class, which I have 2 of, I have less room for students in that classroom. So it's kind of funny looking math. This is where our open enrollment comes from. You know, one of the things we struggle with in preschool is that we don't offer childcare for children under the age of 3. So people have to make the decision to like be all in and come and be with us if they're looking for that all in childcare. And so we do pull from surrounding areas, but maybe not at the same rate we do as a district. So when we do our comparison to kind of figure out what we need to do for fees, we look at the programs in our area, both other district programs and then the programs that are within our district bounds are close enough. We look to see if they have licensed teachers or not. We look to see what their parent aware rating is. We have a 4-star parent aware rating, which is the highest rating available. What their average hourly rate is for an hour in the classroom, and then we try to make apples and oranges out of all the data. So length of classes, length of the school year, numbers of days in a week, and class size. With this upcoming year, we are gonna follow some feedback that we received from our parents and then also in our comparative data, and we're going to asking to extend our classes to match the district calendar. So we'll still start in the rolling way we start as a district, right? So we have the kids before kindergarten start right away, then the kindergartners start, then preschool starts that following Monday, and ECFE starts the week after that. And it's just appropriate for the age of the kids, but we'd like to go all the way till the end of the school year so that we're in lockstep with the district. We have so many families that have kids in multiple buildings. It would just be nice for them to be able to have one end date. And then for the kids that are just with us, it's one less transition to go from school year to non-school days to summer. So they just have one transition, which helps with all the things in child development. We are not looking to increase our ECFE fees this year. We are asking to increase our preschool tuition by 12.5%. We all know that it's expensive right now, and I want to ensure that we have enough to manage a fluctuating enrollment, because with preschool, it is a fee-based program. I'm going to hand it over to Jenny.
Good evening. Superintendent Law, Madam Chair, members of the board. I'm going to talk tonight about Explorers, which is our child care program we offer in all of our elementary schools for before and after school care, as well as the summer, and then Junior Explorers, which is our wraparound child care at Minnetonka Preschool. So the benefits of our program, first and foremost, convenience for families. We're right in the buildings where they are. We are open on non-school days as well as weather closure days, and we do full day programming in the summer at a smaller number of schools. We're typically at 3 elementary schools in the summer. So we also survey families many times throughout the year. So these results are from our spring survey last year, and of those who responded to the survey, 93% rated their experience with Explorers as good or excellent. Of that same group of respondents, 94% of families indicated that their child had made a meaningful connection with at least one staff member in Explorers, and we receive a lot of feedback about that, specific staff names and about just wonderful staff that connect with our students. And 88% said that they would recommend Explorers to others. Just a couple of nice comments and some fun photos from summer field trips. And to talk a bit about our Explorers waitlist, we continue to seek staffing, and staffing is a challenge in our area. That's not something new, but continues to be more challenging as the years go on. So we never do like to have a wait list, but right now our wait list is at 191 students. So our next slide talks a little bit about hiring. So we have hired 18 new staff this school year, and we're continuing to recruit and hire. So if you know anyone who's looking for a fun job to connect with kids, mostly right now we're looking for part-time afternoon staff to help at our elementary schools. And we have 35% of our Explorers enrollment this year as open enrolled students, and that's fairly consistent over the years. And certainly Explorers is an important aspect for our open enrolled families who may have a longer distance to drive and need some of that extra time before and after that school day. This is a chart just tracking our enrollment through the years. A little higher enrollment this year over last, and summer remains to be seen. We'll open our summer registration in February and then our school year registration for next school year in March. And for fees, this is a look at kind of all the different options of fees that we have before school, after school, depending on the hours, as well as a few different options for juniors and non-school days. And we are proposing a fee increase of 4.5% for Explorers in the coming year. And I'll turn it back over to Tim. Thank you.
Thank you, Jenny. Those are our presentations this evening on fees, and so I'll leave it up to the board. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Lippin. Thanks to the MCE team for all your great work. So we're going to take these one at a time for the board and vote on each one. So first off, I would like to ask for a motion that the school board approve the 0% fee increase proposal for the Minnetonka ECFE for the 2024 or 2025 year.
So moved.
Chris, is there a second?
Second.
Katie, any discussion or questions on ECFE fees? All right, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, motion carries. Then next we will, I would ask for a motion to approve the proposed 12.5% fee increase for the Minnetonka Preschool.
So moved.
Mike, is there a second?
Second.
Katie? Discussion or questions for the team? Katie?
Just a question, a comment and a question. One of the things that I always get out of your presentations when you come is just how much you evolve every year with your family's needs. And I've seen it not only having been a parent in the building, but over the years with the proposals of possible fee increases coming each year. And I love to hear that you're making that change to be the duration of a school calendar. I've heard it been discussed in the past, and so the fact that you're able to do that is incredible for our families. That 12.5% increase, I'm assuming, so here's kind of the question, is really, there's a cost to that too, because we, our teachers are going to be paid longer, and so not only is it just because, as you mentioned, things are expensive, but there is a cost when we extend a program in a calendar year. So I just really, more than anything, love to see how it's evolving, because it really does accommodate our families, and well done, great. And that also applies to Explorers too. You guys do that as well. But this is particularly because our current, motion, I guess, is about the preschool fees. So, thank you.
Thank you.
And did you want Mr. Litvin to confirm that?
Well, yes, if you need to confirm, but yeah.
Yes, the 12.5% fee is needed. That is needed. We're extending the school year, and we're going to a 10-month cycle, so there is the need for that increase.
Yeah, thank you.
Fee-based program, that's the key. Fee-based program,
Fee-based.
preschool, ECFE, there's a levy that helps support the ECFE program, and that levy was increased in this past legislative session, so therefore that helps us not needing to ask for additional dollars in ECFE.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any additional questions on the preschool fees? No. Okay, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, motion carries. And then finally, I would like a motion, please, to increase the fee for Explorers for 2024-2025 by 4.5%.
So moved.
Mark, is there a second?
Second.
Katie? Discussion or questions on the Explorer fees? Nope. All right, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you very much, Mr. Litvin.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I'm not sure if you need a motion on the extension of the calendar year to match the school year calendar.
Sure, why not?
If you could, thank you. Then we feel like we're going in with the full
Absolutely.
approval. Thank you.
Okay, could I have a motion, please, to extend the school year as presented?
So moved.
Chris, is there a second?
Second.
Megan? Any discussion or questions on that? No, it's awesome. People have been wanting it since my kids were in ECFE, okay, and they're like off the payroll now, so.
It's interesting, you look back, Lisa, when your children were there, was 29 weeks. So we've gradually pushed a week through the years, so this is a good thing.
It's
Yes,
great.
it's a great thing, so thanks to everybody for being willing to do that. Okay.
Thank you, board
It's-
members.
Any other
Superintendent Law.
questions on that? No, okay. Moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Thank you very much again, MCE team. Great work. Congratulations on your award, too.
Thank you very much.
Okay, our next agenda item is the approval of naming of the forum at the VANTAGE Momentum Building. Superintendent Law.
Chair Wagner, members of the board, as we discussed last month, we are very fortunate to have a partner in our Minnetonka Foundation. I'll start with the great news. The foundation recently committed $250,000 to support technology use at the VANTAGE Momentum Building in the forum space. As a longstanding partner in the district, enhancing programs at every school site, the foundation has proven itself to be an entity that's provided significant special contributions to the district. I share that because Minnetonka Policy 809 allows the naming of schools and sites. It states, schools and sites shall normally be given names which are indicative of the areas in which they're located. They may be named for individuals who have achieved significant places in America, Minnesota, or school district life, and when appropriate, entities that have made significant contributions to the district. In addition, portions of school facilities such as media centers, gymnasiums, or athletic fields shall be named according to their educational purpose. However, names of individuals or entities may also be associated with these facility subunits upon designation by the board. Criteria for nominations include evidence of distinguished service, special contributions, or other honors which reflect well upon the education received in the district. Nominations shall be submitted to the superintendent, who will duly inform the board members at the time and who will maintain a current file. Tonight, as I shared last month, I have received a nomination that the Minnetonka Public Schools, the forum at the VANTAGE Momentum Building, be named in honor of the significant contributions of the foundation, specifically to the technology in that space. And with support from the foundation, it would be called the Minnetonka Public Schools Foundation Forum, or more commonly, the Foundation Forum, and so named at the building. That's a recommendation to the board for approval.
Thank you very much, Superintendent Law. Could I have a motion to name the forum room at the new Vantage Momentum Building the Minnetonka Public Schools Foundation Forum, or the more commonly used term, Foundation Forum.
So moved.
Chris, is there a second?
Second.
Mike? Discussion or questions from board members? No, okay. Certainly the foundation has been an amazing partner. And this is a very sizable and significant donation, so thank you very much to the foundation for your support. All right, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We have a new foundation forum. All right. Our next agenda item is one that we alluded to earlier, which is the approval of the 2024 legislative position statements. Superintendent Law.
Chair Wagner, members of the board, as you've had the chance to preview these statements, in an earlier presentation tonight, you noticed that these statements go back several legislative sessions, go all the way back to 2017. But tonight, Mr. Bourgeois will share our current needs prioritized in the district, many of them suggesting that the legislation acknowledge our need to lean on our community for support to meet our ongoing financial needs. Mr. Bourgeois.
Thank you, Superintendent Law, Madam Chair, members of the board. This will be just a concise review of our position statements. This is actually a chart of the general education formula since 2003. It shows the $1,356 gap that affects every school district in the state. The legislature has not been able to keep up with inflation on an annual basis for quite some time. So our first request is increase the basic formula revenue by an added 2% for FY25 to 4% to combat the effects of inflation. We have not had a 4% and a 4% since fiscal year 06 and 07, and that was after 3 consecutive years of zeros back in that decade. Over the past 22 years since the general education levy was eliminated, that's why we start in fiscal year 03. FY03 through FY25 inflation in Minnesota has increased a cumulative 73.9%. Had the basic formula increased with the rate of inflation, it would have increased $3,671 to $8,637. Meanwhile, it actually has increased only 46.61% over that time, or $2,315, which is $1,356 below the rate of inflation. And for us in FY25, that is a loss against inflation of $16,764,770. And this gap has more than doubled and increased 125% from FY21 to FY25. The basic formula for FY25 should be increased by an additional 2%, which would be on $144 for FY25 from $7,281 to $7,425, which that would generate an additional $1,780,330 annually at our estimated enrollment. Our next item is increase the special education cross subsidy by an additional 10% to 54%. The legislature did increase the cross subsidy 8 to 44%. It's been great progress after many years, I probably should underline that, many years of requested relief. If additional state revenues are collected from higher tax receipts, we recommend the special education cross subsidy be increased by 54%. That would generate $796,494 annually to our district. So those two would impact all districts. This next one would be to give third-tier local optional revenue authority for school boards, to give local control to offset those basic funding formula shortfalls, and also reduce the great impact of what I call the great disparity in state aid. So this would be another $362 per adjusted pupil, which is another 50% above the $724. But it's local optional revenue has given local boards the ability to offset shortfalls from inflation against state funding formulas in the past. And over the long term, it's reasonable to expect that, you look back and it's like, okay, you can see which way that train's going. Over the long term, it's reasonable to expect there will be future funding shortfalls similar to the shortfalls of the past 20 years. The other thing is as I had mentioned in the prior presentation, there's a large disparity in state aid to school districts, with the bottom quartile of school districts receiving significantly less by $1,000 or more than the state average for state aid. And for Minnetonka, we are $1,545 less per pupil than the state average in FY22 for state aid. That's the most recent comparative data available. But prior years, year after year after year, the numbers are right there the same. The legislature should approve third-tier local optional revenue of $362. Let the school boards make a choice. If they want to do 0, they can do 0. If they want to do 100, they could do 100. If they need 362, they could do 362. They would give them the discretion. If this was approved by the state, you would have the discretion to levy $4,475 annually in additional revenue, and then have that increased by inflation. And then finally, again, some of these are a blast from the past, or maybe like we're having a rock group doing a cover of the Rolling Stones from 30 years ago or whatever. Anyway, we're doing the cover from 17 years ago. $750 per adjusted pupil unit for the operating referendum cap. Basic revenue, which everybody gets, is the main source of school funding at 55 to 60% of total revenues. It's lost purchasing power. Many districts have found it necessary to utilize operating referendums to ask the local public for additional resources, including Minnetonka. So those of us that are at the bottom decile of state aid per pupil also than the state average, we are actually hurting more than most of the other district. So again, $1,545 less for us in the past year. The referendum cap currently is at $2,202.89. We're asking for it to be increased by $750 per adjusted pupil unit, plus inflation, to allow districts to have the opportunity just to ask their local populace to make up for the chronic shortfall in state basic revenue aid and other state aid disparities. We'd like to have it effective for FY25 so that we could actually do a makeup levy if approved by voters. But the approval of this initiative would increase general operating referendum revenue by $9,272,550, but it would be at the approval of the local voting populace. So those are our 4 platforms for the proposed for the 2024 legislature.
Thank you, Mr. Bourgeois. It is kind of a deja vu moment on the platform here, isn't it? Okay, could I have a motion to approve the 2024 legislative position statements as presented?
So moved.
Patrick, is there a second?
Second.
Katie? All right, discussion or questions in regard to the legislative position statements? No? Okay. Patrick?
Just want to thank you for the, I always forget. Thanks for the work in putting that together. I think it's critical that we have a platform like this just for the benefit of the public. We're going to be advocating at the legislature as much as we can this year, and this platform will allow us to communicate all of these important points and try and get the extra revenue squeezed out of the state if possible. So,
yeah. Fingers crossed.
All right, other questions, comments? No? All right, would also encourage anyone to get involved with CASE. We would love to have your help in advocating for this. So it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We have legislative position statements. All right, and again, please join CASE. Reach out to Patrick. He will help you out. Our next agenda item is the acceptance of the bid for Momentum Aviation Construction. Superintendent Law.
Chair Wagner, members of the board, when we get out early for the bidding process, we get competitive bids, as you'll see tonight. Tonight, Mr. Bourgeois will propose the acceptable bid for the Momentum Aviation Construction. Mr. Bourgeois.
Thank you, Superintendent Law, Madam Chair, members of the board. We actually had fortune smile upon us in some regards. We had very, very competitive bids for the infill of the VANTAGE Momentum building for the aviation wing. The estimate was $1,139,420. The low bid came in at $610,800. So we don't know. We think the economy might be a little bit slower. We are out not quite as early as September, but we're still out early, so we're glad. But $610,800 is the low bid, and we recommend that you accept the bid so we can commence signing contracts and start the project. Thank you.
All right, could I have a motion to approve the low bid of Deering Pearson Group in the amount of $610,800 for construction of the Momentum Aviation spaces in the VANTAGE Momentum building?
So moved.
Mark, is there a second?
Second.
Chris? Discussion or questions from the board? No? Patrick?
Just a quick comment. It strikes me that that's a big a big decrease, but it's comforting to see that all of these 7 bids were really clustered around that same price point, so it suggests that there weren't any errors, and it was a good, solid bid.
Yes.
Great price.
Anybody else? No? All right, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Excellent. It was very exciting to see this bid come in. All right, our next agenda item is the approval of the sale of the 2024 COP bonds for the Momentum Aviation construction.
Chair Wagner, members of the board, at the October 5th board meeting, the school board authorized the sale of $1.765 million par value certificates of participation. Tonight, Mr. Bourgeois is going to bring that forward for board approval after they've been sold.
Thank you, Superintendent Law, Madam Chair, members of the board. We had estimated interest rates at of 6.50%, but interest rates over the last several weeks have fallen significantly. So we actually were able to sell these bonds at 5.06%. So very, very competitive rate. They sold out fast again. Our name in the market with our AAA general obligation bond rating, and these are sold at AA1, which is because they're not general obligation. But so very high rates. We got a big appetite. We had actually multiple subscribers. We were oversubscribed, so we were able to go back out and say, okay, well, we're oversubscribed. Who wants to lower the rate a little bit and squeeze a few more basis points out of it? So 5.06% is a very good rate for this environment, and recommend that you would approve it. Thank you.
Thank you, and yes, that is excellent. And thank you again for your work on the bond rating as well. So, could I have a motion to approve the 2024A sale resolution as prepared by Dorsey and Whitney?
So moved.
Patrick, is there a
Second.
second? Katie? Discussion or questions from the board?
Great job.
Mike?
So the bonds were sold at 1.7 million. The bid comes in much lower than that. What happens to the difference?
Well, two things can happen. The additional dollars can be used for other improvements at that facility, or absent that, you can take the difference after the project is all paid off, and you can use any remaining to make a bond payment on it.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments from the board? All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Could I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Katie, is there a second?
Second.
Megan? All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? All right, now on to board reports. Does anyone have a board report for this evening? Chris?
I could do it in board reports or announcements, but I was at the foundation meeting and would like to promote Dreammakers 2024 is coming up. So it's Saturday, February 3rd at Equestria West at Bavaria Downs. It's a brand new facility that was built out at Bavaria Downs. Again, it's February 3rd from 5:30 to 11. All kinds of food and games, and it's their biggest fundraiser for the year. So there'll be an online auction as well as some event-only auctions. So if you get your tickets early, there's some specials that go along with it. I will include all of the details, so it goes out in the school board news, and I would encourage everybody to go.
Is there a band?
There's a DJ. Oh, I'm sorry. People know my live concert by Jacuzzi Puma. I'm sorry. Thank you.
I just wanted to hear you say it.
I need to read my notes. Sorry.
And Jacuzzi Puma is amazing, so. Other board reports? Patrick?
Last week, I attended the Minnesota School Board Association's Delegate Assembly as a delegate from our region, and it was an interesting gathering where delegates from school boards around the state met and discussed legislative positions that the MSBA is going to push forward, and there were some interesting themes. There were some some controversial proposed resolutions that did not make it to the MSBA's agenda, but there was a very solid slate of statewide agenda items that are going to be pushed by that organization, and it was an interesting couple of days of talking about advocacy with other people in our association. So that's my report.
Thanks, Patrick. Thanks for serving in that. Anybody else with the board report? No? Okay, superintendent report.
Chair Wagner, members of the community, the school board job can be thankless. One of the things community members probably don't realize is that board members have something to do almost every day with communications from the public or obligations within the district. Sometimes Friday nights and Saturdays sitting on a state association, weighing out legislation or responding to community concerns. And tonight is the last public board meeting for 3 long-serving board members. So Chair Wagner, Katie Becker, and Mark Ambrosen, who have served Minnetonka community far before my time through some of the more challenging times in public education during the pandemic, it's their last time. So I would like this opportunity to publicly thank those board members. There will be a reception. There's not one more meeting for the board at work session next week. But I know that behind the scenes board members work almost every day and are asked to be sometimes available 7 days a week. So for you 3 in my limited time, it's been a pleasure to work with you, and thank you for your service to this community.
Thank you. All right, now we are on to announcements, and thank you very much, Superintendent Law. Katie.
Wanted to share that Tonka Pride has their winter sale this weekend. So Friday here at the District Service Center, 1 to 7, and Saturday, December 9th, 8 to 1. So you can come and get your Tonka apparel and support your preschool, elementary, and middle schools with the sales. All the profits go back to your schools. And then also the Booster Store is extending their hours this month also. So they are doing a 20% sale on all of their apparel, and they're extending their hours to Thursday evenings, 5 to 7, and Saturdays, 9 to 1, and they're always open. Every day, school is open at the high school, 11 to 2, so you can always visit the Booster Store there also.
Patrick?
Thanks. Chair Wagner alluded to this earlier a couple of times, but there's a community organization here that you might not know about, which is called the CASE Committee. That stands for Community Action for Student Education, and that's a group of district boosters that we go out to the legislature and we try and push them to allow us to continue to follow our mission of child-centered excellence by raising money or making other policy changes that are important. I've only been on the school board for a couple of years, but I first got involved with CASE about 10 years ago. And this year, given the high level of need that Mr. Bourgeois has identified and emphasized for us tonight, we're going to be trying to have CASE very invigorated and active. Chair Wagner and I and others on the board have already been involved in, and Superintendent Law have been involved in out there recruiting new members to be involved in this committee. And if you have an interest in talking to legislators, whether that be in person, on the telephone, via email, or just talking to your neighbors and friends about how the school district has been important to you and what it needs, I would encourage you to get involved with CASE. There are all sorts of levels of activity that we will need your help with as we get pushing into the legislative session. So please do reach out. You can reach out to me. You can reach out to the communications department here at the district. We'd love to have your involvement. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anybody else with an announcement for this evening? No? Okay. Could I have a motion to adjourn to closed session to discuss negotiations with the Minnetonka Teachers Association as provided by Minnesota Statute 13D, Section 03? So moved. Katie, is there a second?
Second.
Megan? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, we are adjourned to closed session.